Brought to you by 1AAuto.com, your source for quality replacement parts and the best service on the internet.
Hi, I'm Mike from 1AAuto. I hope this how-to video helps you out. And next time you need parts for your vehicle, think of 1AAuto.com. Thanks.
In this video, we're going to show you how to replace the Serpentine belt tensioner on this 2008 Chevy Equinox. The process is basically the same for any Equinox or Torrent of this vintage with the 3.4 liter V6. If your tensioner is going bad, you'll notice some squeaking when you turn on accessories, such as your air conditioning. Mostly when your air conditioning compressor comes on, you'll hear some squeaking because the belt is not tight enough. Tools you'll need are flat blade screwdriver, 10mm, 15 and 18mm sockets with ratchets and extensions, a 3/8 drive ratchet or flex handle.
And to get to it, you do have to remove the intake tube. Not too difficult. There's a plug here. You just take a little tab, move it to the side, pull that off, and then there's two clamps to loosen.
Okay, I'm going to speed this up a little bit. What I found actually is you only need to loosen up the clamp that's on the engine side or closer to the engine, and then you pull the tube off the engine.
That's actually good enough. Now there's a couple of clips. You just pull off with your thumbs, and you can lift this up. Get your air box up and off. There's a little safety clamp here that you'll want to remove carefully. Okay, and then you can disconnect this harness, pull this right out. Okay, there's a 10mm bolt right back here. Remove that. Probably take your air cleaner out, and now your air box will come right up and pull it back. Out. There is a harness right here. You just hold that your air box out. Okay, you'll want to put a jack right underneath the engine.
Now with the air box out of the way, you want to basically unbolt your engine mount, and it's 17mm bolts on the outside, and then the inner ones are 15mm. Before you undo the inner ones, you want to just jack up your engine a little bit, enough so that you see that mount start moving up, and then you can remove the three 15mm bolts. In this next part, it's a little difficult to see what I'm doing, so I kind of drew an arrow. The arrow points to your belt tensioner, and you can see down at the bottom, if you're looking at it in good enough resolution, that the tensioner has a small 3/8 square hole in it. So you take a 3/8 drive flex handle. If you jack up the engine enough, you can probably get a regular ratchet handle on there, and you put it into that square hole, and you'll see what you do with it.
Okay, now here's your tensioner, and you're going to need kind of it's a flexible handle like this, and basically you just want to put the handle in, flex that into the tensioner, and then push it in. Okay, and then you can pull up on your handle. Okay, that lets tension off the belt. Take the belt off. Slowly let your handle back down.
That out. Okay, in the next shot you may notice that the belt is gone. You do not have to remove your belt to replace the belt tensioner. If you do remove your belt, I have a belt tensioner diagram that you'll see later in the video.
Let's remove your belt tensioner, 15mm socket, ratchet, and just remove the bolt here. Okay, and going down here and looking at that surface where it mounts. Okay, hard to see here, but you can see there's a little hole right here. We want to make sure on our new tensioner that this little tab goes right into that hole. Okay, so put it down in there. Put the bolt in. You can kind of look down and see that tab go in. Start our bolt in.
Okay, and just fast forward as I put the bolt in, and then use my 15mm ratchet and socket. Tighten it up. Tighten it to about 25 to 30 foot-pounds. You don't want to go too tight because it is going into aluminum and you could strip threads. Okay, next up we're going to put the belt back on. I am going to pick it up just from having the belt preliminarily routed. Here is a diagram to help you route it if you either took your belt off or if it fell off a couple pulleys and you weren't sure how to get it back on.
Okay. Put your bar in. Pull up on your tensioner. Put your belt down onto this idler pulley. Make sure it's on the alternator well enough. Okay. Let your tensioner go. With your engine jacked up high enough, you can get that right out. Okay. And I'll put your mount back on. Start the bolts. Okay, you can let your engine down some. Okay, make sure you get the bolts started first.
Okay, speed it up here some. I'll start those bolts in. Just make sure the jack is positioned so that the engine is just barely lifting up on that mount. Preliminarily tighten those bolts. And those are 15mm bolts. Then let the engine down some and put on the 18mm nuts and then preliminarily tighten them. Okay, and then I'm going to tighten the 18mm nuts to 85 foot-pounds, and then I'm going to tighten the 15mm bolts to 45 foot-pounds.
I'll put my air box back down in. And my wiring harnesses go up above. There's two kind of rubber plugs that go in the holes in the front. Guide them in place, push them forward.
Tighten up that bolt nice and firm, and then make sure you put the pin for the wiring harness back in place.
Put the air cleaner back in. Make sure it's seated correctly. That does have a little tab here, so it goes in the right way. And I'll put the outside the air box in first. And make sure the harnesses don't get in your way. Down in place. Put that back on. Lock that one back on. And make sure that's all back. And tighten up the clamps. And be sure to reconnect that hose. Okay. And then that right there. And this little lock inserts from the back like that.
We hope this helps you out. Brought to you by www.1aauto.com, your source for quality replacement parts and the best service on the internet. Please feel free to call us toll free 888-844-3393. We're the company that's here for you on the internet and in person.